Hi, I'm the Busy Bee Mom, and today we are making a roll that holds markers. It's basically two pieces of fabric sewn together that you can hold markers in. My daughter actually came up with this idea. She asked me the other day, she was like, "Mom, want something to put my markers in other than a Ziploc bag." So, with my help, my 12-year-old daughter made this marker roll, and we're going to show you how to make it. So, hope you enjoy the video. Have a great day. When you're getting ready to make your roll, one of the first things you need to do is decide how big to make your pouches. And I did mine 3/4 of an inch. And the way I figured that was I took some markers and I wanted a marker's width between them. So when I lined them up like this and measured like halfway from one to the other, that was about 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to interrupt this video really quick and tell you that you need to test your measurements before you actually start doing the calculations, which I was about to tell you. So just take some scrap fabric. I've got 2 pieces of my fabric scrap, and try out your dimensions and put a marker in them and make sure that that's going to work before you go on any farther. Alrighty, just wanted to tell you that and make sure that you double check those measurements. And in hindsight, I wish I had made mine a little bit bigger, just because they should have been a little bit bigger. Anyway, let's leave it with that. Alright, but test it before you get too far. Alright, back to the video. And then I counted up how many markers I had. So I've decided I want 3/4 of an inch between each one, and I had 25 markers, and I'm going to leave 2 extra pockets at the end. So 27 times 0.75. So I ended up with a total length of 20.25. So I want my finished to be 20.25. And then I have to figure out my height. So I just measured my markers and thought, I think if I come up about 4.5 inches, that'll be about right. Decided to come up that high. So now I know that this side is 4.5. Now when you're working with fabric, you have to allow for seam allowance and stuff. So on this green fabric, what I did was I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch to this side, the bottom side, and this side. So left, right, and bottom, we're going to add 1/4 of an inch. So I need to add 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And then for a top, I need to add a full inch. Boy, is that crooked. So up here I'm going to add a full inch. So then I can come up with my total measurement. So I've got 4.5 in the middle, plus another 1/2 inch. That makes, now I'm going the wrong way. It's 20.25 plus a 1/2 inch. Gives me a 20.75 by, so my 4.5, that makes it 5.5, 5 3/4. Or 5.75. I should probably just pick decimals or fractions and stay with it. So, by measuring how much room I needed for my markers and how far I wanted to go up, then I add 1 inch and then 1/4 inches to my other 3 sides. For the back fabric, you also want it to be the same length, 20.25, I figured, but I want it to be taller because I want it to come up above my marker. See how much taller it is? So you just lay your marker down and kind of measure it and see how tall your markers are. Wow, somebody's been leaving these open. So I'm going to go, what did I decide? I decided to go 6 inches. So we're going to go 6 inches up. Now in this one we need to add an extra inch all the way around. All 4 sides we need an extra inch. So it becomes 6, 7, 8, 21, 22.25. Alright, so there's my finished measurements. I'm going to cut one 8 inches by 22.25. My other one I'm going to cut 5 3/4 by 20 3/4. Now, I want to talk real quick about fabric. For my outer fabric, I use something that's a little thicker and heavier weight than just a calico. I think this is actually outdoor fabric that you can use for cushions outside. It's got a little bit of a stiffness to it. You can also sometimes find in the calicos this heavier weight fabric. It's like the weight of a sportswear or like a twill, but it's got pattern to it. And then for my inside fabric, I think this is just a cotton. Actually, I think this one's a poly cotton blend. It's a really thin fabric. So once you figure out how many markers you want to store, you can measure them and figure out your dimensions and cut out your fabric. Okay, we have all the pieces cut out. We've got our back piece and then our lining piece. Whoops, something on my finger. And I have gone around the back piece and I have done a 1-inch mark in pencil all the way around on all 4 edges. Remember, we added an inch all the way around. And on this one, I've just done it to one edge. That'll be our top edge. Now what we need to do is we're going to press this. I'm going to fold it over a little bit and press it. My iron's not actually on, I just want to show. So you're going to press that, and then you're going to come and where that 1-inch line is, you want it to stop on that 1-inch line. You're going to press it. Press it again. So press, and then lining this edge up with my pencil line, and then I'm going to press that. So do that to this edge, and then all 4 edges of my other piece. Alright, I've got my lining piece here, and we have folded over that one edge and ironed it, and now we're going to sew along this edge. You just want to edge stitch along here. I've actually set my machine for a decorative stitch. And I'll be right back. Alright, we have stitched it down, and this is my top side, and then I've got my other piece with it all folded over and ironed. I've already pinned this edge. Let me show you what we're going to do next. We're going to take this and line it up, and it should go just under that flap. And the flap, oops, you can't even see that, I'm off camera. It's going to go under that flap, and the flap's just going to fold over it. So then when we stitch that, it'll hold it in place. So kind of want to line it up with this edge right here. Should be the same as the edge of your green. So tuck it under all of your edges and fold over it. Then we're going to pin it all the way around, just like I did here, and then we're going to sew it down. Just edge stitch all the way around. Alright, okay, we've got it all sewed. The next step is to mark our lines for each of our pouches. So I need to measure, and every 3/4 of an inch I'm going to make a mark at the bottom and a mark at the top, and I'm going to connect them. Now you could use a pencil and write really faintly, or you could use something like this, which once you get it wet it comes right off. So we're going to mark all the way down our 26 pouches. Now I did notice this whole thing is supposed to be, ooh, that's bright, sorry, 20 1/4, and I've only got 20. But I had 2 extra pouches I was planning on making, so instead of 2 extra, I'm just going to do 1 big pouch at the end, since we got a little off. I think when we folded these over, they weren't quite on the 1-inch mark, it went a little past. So I have enough pouches though for the 25 Sharpies and just 1 big one at the end. So mark all of those and stitch them. Just straight stitch from here to here. Make sure you back stitch really good at the top though, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on that as you take the things in and out. Okay, we have been busy stitching, and we got all of our lines stitched, and we've even got it filled with all the markers now. And then you just roll it up. And the last thing we have to do is probably put some type of a closure on it. But here is your marker roll, your utensil roll, that you can use to keep everything organized. And I'll be back later if and how we decide to put a fastener on it. I hadn't gotten that far. Okay, we figured out the closure. What we did is we took about 1 yard of ribbon and I folded it in half. And then I simply laid it on my edge and I stitched it. And I back stitched a lot. I just went back and forth. And it's just on the edge here. You're not in a pouch. So you just attach that to there, and then when you're ready to roll it up, you start at the other end, roll it up, take your ribbon around, and tie it shut. And there you have your roll of markers tied up with a nice pretty ribbon all ready to go. Thank you for watching.